Welcome to Channel AMAC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migrating to Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell on the side, so once we have all the updates and news, you'll be the first one getting all the insight. Now, exciting 2023 now. Obviously, over the past few weeks, we have learned there is new policies coming up, and more friendly type of visa scheme will be released with the new policies. That we also know about the employment sponsor visa, which in my channel and a lot of other agents may agree with. The complication of employment sponsorship has just been too complex in order for a lot of employer to actually accept. Now, we've also learned that the government of Australia is looking to simplify it. However, there is still obligation and responsibility for the sponsored employer. Now, in this video, we're going to go through that, and also we're going to answer a question that likely a lot of you, if you wanted to get into the work visas, especially under subclass 482, if you wanted to change job or work, how will that work? We're going to answer that at the end of this video. So let's have a look at the obligations and responsibility, which, well, you need to learn as well, because there's a lot of rights that you will have. A lot of people just don't know that you have those rights, and you really need to have there. Okay, so let's jump into the Home Affairs website. As you can see here, you may Google this. All you need to do is punch in sponsorship obligations for the standard businesses. So, and then we're gonna go through it's quite a lengthy content in this web page. A lot of people might not take time to actually go through them, because generally a visa applicant, you won't care about what your boss is going to do anyway. And the employer, well, they are also reluctant to come in here to do actual study of what they require to do. So anyway, over the past years of our practice, we have seen numbers of issues. So this video is here just to make it transparent. If you don't want to read, that's all good. I'm here ready for you. You don't need to even watch it. Just put your phone aside and listen to what I've just said. Okay. So what you must do, you have obligation as a sponsor, that's an employment sponsor. Some obligation apply beyond terms of sponsor approval to retain and renew your standard business sponsorship. That's in order for Australian employer to sponsor an overseas skilled worker, you require to get a standard business sponsorship. You must continue to meet the sponsor obligations. So tell us when certain events occurs. So obviously that's when things changes. There's email here. It's a sponsor.notification@abf.gov.au. Noticing that it's not at homeaffairs.gov.au, it's ABF. What does that stand for? That stands for Australian Border Force. Now I don't know how and why employer sponsors obligation is actually managed by the Border Force. I mean, doesn't the Border Force supposed to be at the airport checking out, the drug traffickers and things like that? I don't know. I have no idea. It's just been like this for years and years. I think 10 years plus. Okay, now, if there's any changes, you need to let the government know. So legal name, trading name, registration detail, business structure, ongoing communication, owners, the director, principal, partner, business address. You must also let us know if your business had become insolvent, bankrupt, receivership, existing legal, seizing existing legal entities. So that means the business is no longer trading or having some financial problem there. You must let us know that cease employment with you. So that's the visa applicant is no longer working for you, changed their duty, or did not commence there. So they obviously had breached what the visa agreement was. Okay, so the obligation started on the date of approval of his business sponsorship, and it ends 2 years after. So your sponsorship or the work agreement ends, and you no longer employ the sponsor visa holder. That's only if you don't need it anymore. Okay, all businesses let us know by 28 calendar days if the visa holder, so your employee, ends the work. So I don't know what sort of situation is, whichever it is, you need to let the government know. Okay, and a change of work duties. Now that's unlikely to happen, unless there's major changes. But you look, if you nominate for a certain occupation, then obviously you work for that job, unless there's a promotion, perhaps. But then generally that will triggers a nomination resubmissions. Anyway, it depends on what sort of work there. You have pay return travel cost of the sponsor visa holder or any their family member in accordance with obligation pay return travel cost. So if the employee ceased to work and required to travel back to the country where they're originally from, the employer is obligated to pay for that. Now, I know that a lot of people go, what? Why do I need to do this for? But anyway, that's just in the policy. Anyway, you have become insolvent, you cease the existing business. So companies. Okay, so that was all business. So anything like that, you need required to let people know. So if a company has been under, administration, court has ordered the company wind up, appoint official liquidator. So basically, the company is not going well. It's going bankruptcies and things like that. So you need to let the immigration know. So, and if you are trading as a sole trader, if you operate your business as an individual, you enter into personal insolvency. Now that's bad. That's really bad, because company, you can seize the entity, and that won't affect, not as likely as the personal insolvencies, but personal insolvencies, that means the guy is gone. You entered a debt agreement, sequestration order against your estate. Well, I haven't really seen that kind of things happening. You must have been into big trouble. So anyway, all these kind, from the company to individual to partnership. So basically, partnership broke up, and or the business basically is not operating anymore, or an unincorporated association, a new member appointed in the managing committee, any of the events individual occurs, you need to you need to email sponsor.notification@abf.gov.au. so that's basically any changes. Now this part, ensure your employee works only in the nominated occupation. Now this is actually very strictly enforced. Now, if you sponsor someone as a chef, the government will expect that the person working as a chef. But if you wanted to shift this guy to work as a restaurant manager, that just won't make any sense. So basically, under the immigration policy, you're required to lodge a fresh new nomination and pay for the money again. Okay, you must ensure that the employee works only in the occupation nominated for. If you want a visa holder working different, lodge a new nomination. So basically, the government saying, look, if you want to do that, you cannot just write an email to us and we'll grant it. You're required to. This part, if it's internally promotion, I think the government should just accept that. But lodging a new nomination, look, how much you gotta pay for nomination again? Okay, the nomination application fee plus the Skilling Australian Fund, which is thousands of dollars. Anyway, is this just a scheme that the government want the money? Well, you may want to question and comment on that one. But anyway, generally, that's where the procedure is. If it's going to be a change of employer, lodging a new nomination, I can accept that. But if the employer is the same, for example, a chef working pretty well, and the boss just wanted to, hire another new chef and then promote this chef to become a manager within the same entity, Launching a new nomination, it's just wasting of money and time. I think, to simplify this, maybe just write to an email to immigration and update that situation will do, unless the occupation is so dramatically changed from a chef and promoted to become ICT manager. Well, that just don't make any sense anyway. But that's what you're required to do. Okay, so if you wanted to change job, we're going to talk about that one as well by the end of this video. If you're a standard businessman, you must employ a person you have sponsored under written contract unless nominated person occupation is exempt. Now, where are those ones? I'm going to go in there and have a look as well for you. Now, coming down here, it says ensure equivalent terms and condition of employment. Now, that basically applies to, if you employ, the terms and conditions of that agreement has to be the same as how you employ an Australian local citizen as well. So note this obligation apply only on annual earning for employee is less than 250,000. Well, that covers 99% of you. If your income is over 250,000, obviously that you get special treatment there. Now, and that's generally the chief executive level or senior manager, so that's a little bit different. Okay, this application starts when the visa starts. That's pretty obvious. Not engage in discriminatory recruitment practices. Now, this is the part that probably that's where the labor market testing comes. I think that will be cut out, because traditionally, because of this, then the employer required to post 3 job advertisements to prove that there is no discriminatory to the locals. Now, I think that's going to be go anyway. And you need to keep records, that's for sure. I don't think an employer won't keep any record, because the accountants will always ask for that anyway, because these records are generally easily to be obtained from your accountant. So payment, travel costs, report to us, all the taxation payments, non-monetary benefits. So that's, again, accountant will ask that for you as well. You employ other people, you definitely will have that. You have written contract, of course, and an employer or boss will keep those written contract, the training obligation. So generally these kind of stuff are all kept under the accountant. So you might as well to keep another copy for your immigration agent or lawyers or whoever takes care of your visa. Provide record information when you require, when the government wants to gain access to this information. Now, again, this part I wanted to talk a little bit more, because that basically is saying if once you agree and become an employment sponsor, your door is always open for the government to come. So you gotta be very transparent. Now, a lot of the employer do not understand this part, or do not even know about this part. So they think getting someone to work for you is all right, but you also require, under the policy, your door shall always be opened, and there's nowhere to go because it's already there. And when you sign up with the employment sponsor under the immigration regulations, this is all in there. Assume all costs yourself. Okay, so you must pay for all the things that require and shall not pass forward these fees to the visa applicant or visa holders. You see down here it says you must not attempt transfer the charge of these costs of another person. So again, it's strictly enforced, but it's very hard to actually get around. Anyway. Pay travel costs, we have covered that already. So if the employee ceases to work there and required to return back home, you're required to pay for all that. Pay the cost of relocate or remove unlawful non-citizen. So if there is unlawful non-citizen working for you and has been identified, then all the cost is upon the employer. So don't hire someone who doesn't have the Australian visa. Now, I've seen numbers, but if you get caught, that's a problem. I think that's why they require Australian Border Force to come in, so rather than Home Affairs Office, and that is more relevant to Border Force, doesn't it? Corporate Work Inspector. So again, the same thing. When they come, you have to open the door and comply with it and provide all the document they require. Monitoring, that's again the same thing with the corporate with the inspector. So they may come and monitor and see how you're going. If you have done things not correctly right, as we have just mentioned right above, then sanction may apply. That means you cannot become an employment sponsor for a period of time. Okay, and there's a civil penalty there, infringements. So $1,650 for individual and $8,250 for body corp. 3,300. Again, that's just the penalty that you're likely to attract. Apply court a civil penalty order. So you know you have to understand, if you really wanted to be an Australian employer sponsor to nominate somebody for overseas worker, that is the obligation there. So look, it's not just too hard. It's not too hard. It's balancing there, but you need to understand those obligations. Now, if you cannot comply with those obligations, don't do with it. Okay. So if you want to be running your business, operate your business legitimately, might as well just run it legitimately, okay, and be transparent to the government in Australia, because there's no, over the years there's been a lot of dodgy employers out there. Now let's come back to the web page where we have seen the exemptions there. What's this exemption? That's exemption for the change of the occupation. So these, as you see, they are mostly the senior managerial role and the doctors and health professionals, and there's nothing else there. So it's either gonna be the CEO or the general manager, or if you're a medical doctors. Okay, now coming last but not least, we go to the visa for visa holders. We have talked about this, so you learn the obligation of the sponsor. Now, if you're a visa holder and holding 482 visa, and I want to talk to you about this part where your visa condition will have this 8607 says must only work in a nominated occupation. So that's strictly apply on your visa. So if you work for other type of nominated occupations, then your visa is likely to be cancelled. Okay, that's first thing. And secondly, if you want to work additionally, to the obligated occupation or job, and so you work on the second job, can you do that? No, you cannot do that. So here we go. It says if you can only work for other business if the occupation specified in the ministry instrument. That's those occupations up there, but your employment is ending, and if you want to change, that's the part I wanted to talk to you about. And you got to be very, very careful. If you want to change your employer, your new proposed employer must get a nomination approved before you can start work there. Now, again, how long does a new nomination take? Now, the problem here is due to the delay. It may take 6 months. So if you found a new job you want to change, you're gonna ask your employer, hey, look, go pay for the money and wait for 6 months, and then I'll come here. Now, in a factual scenario, would that likely to be happening? Probably not. So again, the government of Australia really need to simplify and make the system more efficiently in order to allow this to be happening. Otherwise, how would somebody, an employer, wait 6 months for the nomination to be changed over, or for an employee to wait for 6 months in order to change their job? And that's another issue there. But anyway, this is for the video about the obligation for employment sponsor. If you have more other question, more than welcome to leave comment right down below. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.